Brasa came too soon. Ahead of the flock, ahead of the warmth. A bird the color of a southern summer, alone in a cold northern dawn. Above the Dehesa, the sky was empty. In Extremadura, the bee-eaters arrive like a rumor, heard long before they are seen. A liquid call, rolling across the open oak country. In the soft banks of the river, whole colonies dig their tunnels and raise their young as one. They live for each other. They travel, they hunt, they nest as one. A bee-eater is almost never alone. This one was. The flock Brasa was born into was still somewhere to the south, riding the warm air north. Brasa had simply flown faster than spring. Then the weather turned. A late cold front slid down from the north, and the temperature fell through the afternoon. For most birds, cold is discomfort. For a bee-eater, it is starvation. Brasa lives on what flies: bees, dragonflies, the bright insects of warm days. And in the cold, the air emptied. Nothing rose, nothing hummed. By dusk, the jeweled bird sat low in a bare tree, feathers fluffed against a wind that did not belong to spring. Burning through reserves the cold would not let it replace. By morning, the night had won. Brasa was on the ground at the foot of the bank, wings half open, too weak to lift. This is the danger no map shows. Not a predator, not a wound, just a warm weather bird, caught by a cold that came too late in the year. In a spring that arrives a little stranger each season. The insects, fewer than the year before. The flock, later. A single grounded bee-eater was easy to miss. Almost. A farmhand found it, a spark of color against wet earth. What happens next is not a rescue in the way stories like to tell it. No one saves a wild thing. They only buy it time. Warmth first, then shelter from the wind. Then, when strength began to return, the insects a cold spring could not provide. For 2 days, Brasa was held by human hands, and watched, and fed, and mostly left alone. Because the goal was never to keep it. The goal was to give the sky back. Recovery in a wild bird is quiet. It is not gratitude, it is appetite returning. The eyes sharpening, the body remembering what it is for. And then, on the second morning, something else. A sound far off, carried on warming air. A liquid call rolling across the Dehesa. The flock. Brasa lifted its head. And for the first time, answered. Now there was only one question that mattered. Not whether Brasa could fly, but whether it was still wild enough to choose the flock over the hand that fed it. They carried it to the open country, where the calls were closest, and set it down.
Vete con ellos.
And they stepped back. For a moment, nothing. Then the call came again, and Brasa rose to meet it. Up into the warming light, a single bright thread. Folding into the many. The flock did not celebrate. It simply made room. That is the truth about the wild. It does not always need to be saved. Sometimes it only needs the chance to come back together. The story is fictional. The wild it honors is real.